welcome to Fandom Family Chats. I'm your host, Jeanette, and I'm joined by Eve.
Hey.
Amanda.
Hello.
And Shelby.
Hi.
Tonight, we are going to be discussing our top 10 Grey's Anatomy couples, which should be really interesting because I have a feeling we're all going to have some that are kind of different. So
I feel like we're going to have a lot of the same ones.
We'll see. I don't know. I know that I don't have some that you have, so.
I think Amanda's number one isn't even anywhere near my list.
It's not on mine either.
I know I'm going to be the only one, guys. I'm sorry.
I said I'll talk about it when we get to it. But I mean, if we had done top 15, it would have been in there, but not top 10.
Oh, I did 15, but I just did 5 for honorable mentions.
Oh, I didn't even do that, but I may think of some as I go along. We'll see. So
I have zero honorable mentions. So if someone takes my people, then that's it.
Well, you better think harder.
I better go first.
Do you want me to send you a list of every single couple from Grey's Anatomy?
You want to know what's weird?
Are you kidding? That's like 18 years worth of relationships.
No, I honestly, seriously have a list.
I looked up a YouTube video because I was curious what, they had like that Ms. Mojo or whatever had their top 10.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to see who's on there. It was the weirdest things on there. I was like, this is on your top 10? Like, I don't know. Wasn't into it at all.
I have some weird ones.
Like, I won't say, I don't know. Christina and Burke were on there, and that's not, I don't know if that's on anybody's list. But I was like, why would that be in your top 10? Is this list like 10 years old?
I didn't even think about putting them on my list. And they're currently together, like where I'm rewatching. It didn't even occur to me to put them on my list. Like, I didn't even think of them.
No, I don't know. I kind of liked them during the time they were together.
Yeah.
A little bit, but it was like when they separated, I really wasn't that upset about it.
Not at all.
It was kind of one of those couples where like, okay, yeah, you're cute. And then like, I kind of forgot about them.
Yeah. Like they had some chemistry, but I feel like that was about it. Like, I don't know.
I mean, if she wasn't with Burke, then we would not have seen Sandra Oh with no eyebrows. So it had some pluses.
True.
Mama took my eyebrows.
All right, so I say, are we going to say them, and then are we going to discuss, like, back up why we like them? Is that how we're going to do it?
Yeah.
We got to back it up a little, right? Okay. All right, Eve, why don't you kick us off then?
Go ahead.
Okay, my number 10 is Owen and Amelia.
Okay. They're on my list too.
Nope, they're not on mine.
Not on mine either.
So even now that they're not together, and I know they're never going to be at this point, I still like their friendship too. So that's why I put it on here. And that's also
I like the friendship.
That's why I didn't put it in I wanted to put it higher, but since they're not going to be a couple ever again, I was like, no, I'll just bump it down lower, but I still like them.
Yeah.
Or I did.
No. I mean,
I like them. I mean, if it wasn't, I like her with Link better. We'll talk about that later. But if it wasn't for Link, I'd want them back together. I like them together. So
I agree. I thought that he was pretty stable for her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he had a lot of his own problems and she had a lot of her own problems. Exactly. I think them two together were
it just didn't work.
Yeah.
They both had too many problems separately for them to be together. That's why I'm kind of interested in Teddy and Owen.
Yeah.
Because they both have issues. Which, I mean, I think they understand each other's issues better than Owen and Amelia.
Well, and I would say, talking about the same thing, though, I would feel like Owen, I don't know, a lot of people hate him, but I think I don't know. I feel like sometimes Link is a little oblivious to her problems, too. We won't get into all that because that's on the list.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
All right. Who wants to go next?
I can.
Okay.
Go.
I have for number 10, Alex and Izzy.
They are on my list.
They are on my list too. They're number 6.
Much higher.
Oh, that's my number 9.
I think you guys know where I stand on Izzy, but I did like her with Alex until she really screwed him over. I thought that they were a good couple and they did have a lot of chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, They did.
I love them together when they were together. But Shelby and I can do a whole podcast, just the two of us talking about this. But now I'm like, no, he can't leave to be with Izzy. She just completely screwed things up right before she left. But I did love them together at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like them together. And I'm probably one of the few people, and I probably am going to be fought a lot tonight over these couples, but I don't know. I'm happy he's with Izzy.
Where are they on your list?
Me?
I'm curious.
Number 6.
Y'all want to know where they are on my list? That's how much I like them.
Number 3, number 2. I'm sure.
Number 2.
I knew they were going to be high on your list.
I love them together.
I'm actually surprised they're on Shelby's list.
Me too.
I was going.
She forgot about a bunch of couples.
I did, and I have a bunch of honorable mentions because I had to redo my list 4 times. But I love Alex. You guys know that, and I wasn't a big fan of Izzy, but like I said, I can't deny that they had the chemistry together. I mean, it is what it is. Like, you can't deny that.
I think what I like about them is that, I mean, as I was watching videos of like my top 3 couples just to kind of refresh, because I've only seen the show once. So like, I'm trying to remember stuff, but I mean, just the way he says to her, that she made him want to be good. And I feel like she is the reason that Alex is who he is. So without her, I don't think any of us would love Alex, except for me, because I liked him from the beginning, but that's because I'm a sociopath who likes,
you like the bad boys.
But I think most people wouldn't like him had it not been for Izzy. Like, she's the reason that he became a good person. And I think it's always been Izzy. Even when he was with Joe, not to say he didn't love Joe, because I think he did for sure.
I do.
But I think it was always Izzy. And I think it was more like when Izzy came back, he was just so afraid of being hurt again that he couldn't give her that chance. Even though, I think he wanted to. And I think he always did. And the kids are just they kind of gave him a reason to go back. But I imagine that they're perfectly happy and living a great life now. So,
yeah. I'm happy that they ended up together. I really actually am.
Yeah.
I don't like how they did it.
I don't like how he said goodbye to Joe.
No,
I'm not.
I think that was so shitty.
Goodbye.
That was his wife.
Yeah.
And he just left her with a letter. That did piss
agree.
me off.
Yeah, I agree.
But he has kids.
And as a parent, I can't imagine not being in my kid's life. There's not much. I think I would give up anything to be in my kid's life.
Of course. Of course. Jeanette, you want to go next?
Sure.
I had something to say about them.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Raise your hand, lady.
Going back to what Jeanette said about Izzy bringing him to be a better person too. I think that Izzy was sort of the rainbows and butterflies to his cloudy days and rain, if that makes sense. Like,
oh yeah,
I know that's kind of corny, but like Izzy was like all uppity and like happy about life and everything. Even when she had cancer, she was like, even when she was pretty much on her deathbed, she was like, we see the one scene that like really stood out to me was like, she was literally like acting all fine and stuff when everyone was in her room, and then she ran and puked. Like, she was planning the wedding and stuff and like acting all fine, and then like immediately after everyone left her room, like you could see like in her face, like she got real pale and like she ran and threw up. And like, this is going off the subject kind of because this is more just about Izzy, but like,
I think
that's just the type of person that she was. And Alex was more the doom and gloom, like, woe is me, life sucks kind of person. And Izzy kind of brought that sunshine to his life.
And I love that about them. I think I love their opposites attract. And it's funny, as you said that, it just made me laugh because like, I think of all the characters, like I relate to Izzy more than I do anybody else, because I think I don't know. I think I'm kind of that person that's mostly sunshines and rainbows most of the time. Obviously I have my moments, and what's funny is my husband is definitely the cynical, like life sucks, like everybody sucks, like I hate this. And so maybe that's why I like them, because I feel like, they balance each other out, really well. So
I feel like that's pretty common in couples, even if
Yeah.
You don't mean to.
Mhm. I love an opposites attract kind of couple. So
Yeah. I mean, Ben gets out of bed every morning and like hops right up and like runs
That's me.
downstairs. And I'm like, and he's like, you coming? I'm like, give me like 45 minutes, please.
Like I'm
Yeah.
still asleep.
I have the time, like I will bring my husband coffee in bed to get him up because he's not getting up until like I bring him but I'll hop right up and just get started with my day. Like I can't sit around.
That's just not normal.
I can't do that.
See,
I have to scroll through Facebook and
Yeah.
catch up on all the messages that have already come in the group chats. And
Yeah.
See, this is where it works out for us because come like 8:00, I'm shutting down. Like I'm no longer a happy person. Like I mean, you all, I'm happy with talking to you all. I fake it, but normally I'm tired. I'm done for the day. I just want to sit on the couch and do nothing. Whereas he's like in a much better mood in those hours. So it's just kind of fun.
it works out.
Yeah. So
No, I think both Ben and I are both ready to go to bed about 8:30. When we're not podcasting, I am literally in bed, guys, at 8:30.
I used to go to bed a whole lot earlier. You all have ruined me, to be honest with you. So
I know. I'm like, I can't believe. And when I do like the other podcast, Nefarious,
yeah,
I'm not going to bed, y'all, until like 1:00 in the morning.
Whew.
Or maybe sometimes, I mean, later than that.
Yeah.
Because we have to go for so long.
Late.
But I'm like, I haven't done this since I was a kid, man.
Right.
I stay up late.
Yeah, you're odd too. And you get up pretty early. Do you not sleep?
I used to work.
She's young. She doesn't need sleep.
I used to work third shift.
Oh,
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. I get it.
All right.
All
So
right.
my number 10, and this is kind of the perfect timing. It's Joe and Alex.
They were number 2, I think, on mine.
Isn't that so funny that ours are reversed? And it's not
Yeah.
because I don't like Joe and Alex, because I do actually really like them together. But I think it's the opposite of what we just said. I think they're too much alike to ever work long term.
They're not on my list.
It's just not, I mean,
Nope.
I don't know. I never saw, even though I liked them together, I'm not sure I ever saw them being like an end game type thing.
That's my feelings towards it. Is they were, I felt like they were better friends.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like they were really good friends for each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was never all really 100% on board with their relationship.
Right.
I was at times.
I mean, I think they bonded over their crappy childhoods, and so they became really good friends that way. And then, but I felt like when they were actually like together as a couple, one of them was always hurting the other person.
Yeah.
Whether it was I mean, I think they both just had too many troubles to ever make it work together.
Yeah. Well, Alex wanted the last word in that one. So
Yeah. Right.
sent her a letter. I want to know who in the writer's room, and yes, I'm going to call you all you people out right now. Who thought of that idea? Hey, we need to get him out of here. Oh, wait, let's make him write letters.
That's a good plan. He's just going
Who?
to write letters to his best friend, his mentor, and his wife. And then that'll be a great ending to a story. Like,
Yeah, I mean, even I know because I mean,
can we
even had
fire
his,
that person?
we had his voice reading it, so maybe even though we didn't have him to put on screen, but we could have pretended it happened off screen, and she could have remembered it with his voice in her head. At least then it would have still been in person for her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like they could have played out, like she could have like been thinking through a whole conversation
Mhm.
that they had about why he left, and I feel like I would have been much better with that.
He could have at least
Yeah.
called
Yeah,
face
Well,
to
not even
him. I
just
don't know.
her, but
writing
I
a
mean,
letter. Come on.
he left
That's not
Meredith
Alex.
too with just a letter, and I mean that's like his person, so I mean, like, you left her too with just a letter. It's just weird.
And then you never heard from him again. It was just really weird to me of how they did that. And I know he had some issues in real life going on. And I completely understand like him. I mean, he was on that show for 16 years. But yeah, 16 years. So I totally understand wanting to, step back and quit. Don't hold it against him, Justin Chambers, at all. But
Just
I think they
after
could have done it better.
seeing the Jesse Williams goodbye episode, I was like, see, now this is a good
So much
farewell
better.
Yeah.
episode. And then it made me think back to how Justin Chambers left. I was like,
Hmm.
he never really left. He just wrote letters and called it a day.
It's like he saved Meredith
Yeah.
and then he just left.
Just
Like,
gone.
I've done my due diligence. I'm done.
If it
Yeah.
wasn't for that whole court thing, they couldn't have that wouldn't have worked,
Right.
because then he wouldn't have had to contact Izzy to get the blah blah blah, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that sounds bad of me, Amanda. Oh my gosh. Then he wouldn't have known his kids.
Yeah.
That's nice of you.
Right. Well,
But he, I mean, I know we're supposed to be talking about Joe and Alex now, but
yeah.
I love that he got, I don't know. I bet he's such a good dad. I wish we could see it.
I know. I would
So
at least
sad.
like to see some of it, but
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I understand.
Maybe one day. I don't know. Will he ever come back? Even just, it would be nice just to see a little glimpse. I know he won't, but it'd be
I have a
nice.
hard time believing he'll ever.
What, with that blonde hair?
I'll take it. I don't care.
I will not.
Justin Chambers can do no wrong in my eyes. Like I don't care. I do not care.
He can
Shelby,
do little
do you
wrong
like
in my
the-
eyes, but I don't
You
like
like
the blonde hair.
Shelby?
No, he looks like a goofball.
I mean, I prefer the dark hair, but I mean, I'll take him anyway. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be happy he's back, but I won't enjoy the hair.
Just cut off the top of his head.
While you're
Yes.
watching, just put your hand up.
Just tape a piece of paper to the TV and then
All right. So my number 10, are we ready to move on?
Okay, more to say about you good?
No more?
Okay.
All right. My number 10 is Teddy and Henry.
I love them.
they were going to be my number 10 and I bumped them
Mhm.
off. I
They
do
were-
love that.
Them together. I thought they were
Mhm.
so great. And I mean, that ended so sadly, and I
Yep.
hated that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had to make my list.
They're not
They're
on my
just-
list, but they would have been again if we'd gone top 15
Yeah.
because I do love them.
Joe and Alex were on my honorable mentions, at least.
Okay, well there you go. No,
But
because
you
I
know,
mean,
Teddy and Henry, I mean, they started off with the sham of a marriage,
mhm.
and then that whole just
Well, how-
story of them falling in love with each other after the fact that when they were married, it was just,
How
And
could
he
you
was
not fall in
cute.
love with Scott Foley?
oh my gosh, I know.
Anybody watch
Cute.
Felicity? Ugh, I've been in love with him since he played Noel way back when.
Oh yeah, I remember Felicity, but he was on what's the other show he did? Oh my
He was on
gosh,
Scandal, too.
Scandal. That's
I haven't watched that, but I know he was on it.
you haven't watched Scandal?
I tried. I didn't like it.
I
I
think
love Scandal.
I don't think I watched the last 2 seasons, but I did like it.
I love Scandal. And so I actually watched Scandal before I watched Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, okay.
So I knew him when he
From
came
there.
on the screen. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
and I got really excited. And I think that's maybe why I like Henry so much, is
See, same.
because I knew him from Felicity before I knew him from Scandal. And then Grey's Anatomy came after that. So I don't know. That's my number 10. And I explained it.
How hard? I mean, that death. Oh my gosh, that was probably one of the hardest deaths too for me.
That one was really hard,
Mhm.
not for the fact that
Mhm.
he died, but for the fact of Teddy's grief,
Mhm.
and then how she was towards Christina when she kept making her say everything she did over and over and over again. That was
Yeah.
super hard.
That was
to
hard
watch.
because Christina already felt terrible about it.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, she was like, fine, okay, I'll go over it again. And I'll do it again and again and again. She was so accommodating. And I
Yeah.
was like, come on, when are you gonna just let Christina be?
Yeah. The whole thing was just heartbreaking.
I love that Christina was so accommodating, and I think that goes
Yeah.
to say just how alike that Christina and Teddy are. That I think Christina understood why she needed to hear it over and over again.
Yeah.
I see on a lot of message boards, like people really upset with Teddy for doing that, but she just needed to process it. And, you know, I mean, imagine how hard that would be. So, I mean, whatever she
I think
needs.
that
to
she needed to
process.
know what happened so well in order to be able to process it. Because if I recall, like when Christina was telling her exactly what happened,
Yeah.
Teddy was like going through the motions with her hands as if she was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I understand that.
It's just probably the way her brain works, which is probably why Christina was, I mean, it's probably how her brain would also work to try to figure this out.
Yeah.
The first time that I watched it through and like she was making her do that, I was thinking like Teddy's kind of, and I don't want to say evil, but like I didn't like that she made her do that. But then the second time that I watched it through, like I don't know why, but the first time I kind of had in my head that like Teddy thought that Christina did something wrong, like while she was doing it. But then the second time that I watched it, like it kind of clicked in my head, like, oh, she knows that she did everything right. It's just more of a processing thing, like to just go through everything, like what she did and like what happened.
Yeah.
Like she was kind of in shock and denial, I guess.
Yeah.
I always felt like it was kind of a mix of both. She wanted to make sure that Christina did everything right and that she didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
And also I felt like it was, I don't want to say comforting, but
I mean, maybe
just
in a
like you
way.
said,
I
like
mean,
kind of comforting, processing, trying to come to terms with it because I mean, death is hard.
Yeah.
And I think Grey's Anatomy does a fantastic job of showing all different types of the way people grieve. I think they do a phenomenal job of that. But yeah, so number 10, Teddy and Henry. And they were my first ones I put on my list. Eve, back to you, number 9.
Oh, my number 9 was Alex and Izzy.
Oh yeah, you said that.
And I don't know, maybe my opinion of Katherine Heigl is tainting my opinion of Izzy because I don't like Katherine Heigl as an actress.
Oh, I do.
I love her.
Just because of all the drama she caused on Grey's Anatomy before she hightailed it out of there.
And see, because I watched Grey's Anatomy so late, I know Katherine Heigl, well, number one from Roswell. I don't know if anybody watched the OG Roswell. Phenomenal. Okay, great show. It's on Hulu, I think. You should check it out sometime. But, and then of course all of her rom-coms. So
yeah,
when I met her as Izzy, I already loved the actress. I didn't know anything about any drama. So that may be the difference there.
No, I knew I don't really want to sit here and trash talk her, but
yeah.
There was just a lot of rumors of how she was on set, on not just the Grey's Anatomy set, but any set she's on, and how she is as a real person in real life. Of how,
and I think like they accommodated her so much during her last season on Grey's Anatomy. Like they accommodated her schedule, and then she turned down an Emmy nomination because she wasn't given enough material. It's like, well, you know, friend, you can't have it both ways.
Yep.
See, maybe I like trouble people either way because makes me think of Shannon Doherty. Love her too, even though she's known to be a troublemaker as well.
You like the troublemakers. We know this about you.
I do.
I like Shannon too.
It's us, Amanda. We like the troublemakers for sure.
All right.
LB.
So Shelby. Yep.
Okay, I might get some heat for this. Richard and Adele.
Okay.
I thought they were the cutest. I love them.
Yeah.
They were like, up until when Richard technically cheated on Adele with Katherine, which, but anyway.
I don't really count that as cheating, but we can talk about that later. I don't know.
She was gone already.
She was gone.
But I'm not gonna fight you on that. Anyway, I liked how he supported her, like even with the Alzheimer's and stuff. Like even when she decided that she had a new boyfriend in the nursing home, like even though like I'm sure that hurt him like so bad, he was still there, like visiting her and stuff. But
Yeah.
the only thing I didn't like was him getting with Katherine.
See, I would argue that I don't count the cheating with Katherine, but I mean, definitely the cheating with Ellis that happened way back when everything was supposedly good. I would blame him for that. I mean, that was not
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, no, that wasn't okay either. But I don't know.
But that's
I guess I
90,
kind of
so.
I guess I kind of get that out of my head because we don't really see that too much.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we do a little bit, but like we hear the stories of it, but it's not really like right there, like in your face. I don't know why, but him getting with Katherine when Adele was in the nursing home, like with Alzheimer's and stuff, really hit me hard.
Mm,
And I think it's because my great grandma had Alzheimer's.
yeah.
And I just couldn't imagine I mean, not that at 90 years old he would, but I
Yeah.
just couldn't imagine my great grandfather doing something like that. Like
I can
when you
understand.
get married to someone, you're supposed to be with them no matter what, till death do you part, through
Yeah.
thick and thin. And I don't know, like it just didn't sit right with me. But at the same time, like Adele already kind of had him out of her head anyway.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
like I said, it's a gray area, and
it is.
I don't do well with gray areas either. Like I've told you guys already, like in my world, everything's black and white. So I don't do well with gray areas at all.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess oh, go ahead, Eve.
Oh, I forgot how much I loved Adele until I just went back and rewatched. Like she just marches into the hospital.
Richard.
Dr. Weber,
Am I the only one that
we're
can't
going
stand
to
Adele?
our niece's, whatever. I'm like, oh, this lady means business. I feel like I'm in trouble.
Yeah, I can't stand Adele.
I wasn't really ever the biggest fan of her.
I don't
He
like
made me
her
laugh
at
a few
all.
times,
I mean,
but
I love the actress because my daughter watches her on the family reunion show, like, and I adore her on there. I mean, she's hilarious, but for some reason Adele bugged me. But I'm actually
Yeah,
like a
can see
Richard
that.
Katherine fan. Like I almost put them on my list. I really like them together a lot.
they're
I
on my
have-
honorable mentions.
Yeah, I mean, they would be.
I have them on my list.
I love
Richard and
them. So
Katherine.
we'll wait till we get there then.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about that.
All right,
excited.
Oh,
Jeanette.
is it my turn? Okay, so my number 9 was barely even a couple, but I loved it, and it's Meredith and Nathan.
Yeah,
Oh,
I have that.
No, they're on my honorable mentions.
I know we
Mhm.
really didn't get to see them be a couple
Mhm.
very long, but I think they had so much potential.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I love the idea of them.
I mean, because we didn't really get to see them, they're not higher on my list is the only reason. But I mean, as far as like potential matches for Meredith, I think
Mhm.
he's my favorite because I think had it went further, I think they would have been the most compatible.
how
Yeah.
long was he on? Just the one season?
Yeah, and they didn't even get together for the longest time, and then what was her name? Owen's sister came
Megan.
back.
Megan.
So I mean, they just didn't get much of a chance.
Yeah.
I
get it.
had them on my list, and then when I forgot certain people, I bumped them off, but they're on my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I did. I liked, like you said, they weren't together very long, but I did like the
Mhm.
idea of them.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
Yeah.
I wish
For
we could have
me,
seen more.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
me, I feel like I just didn't get the chance to really get to know him better. So
Yeah.
that's why he's not on my list, and why I sometimes even forget that he was on the show, because as I recall, like they were starting to go somewhere and then Megan came back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah,
was like,
but I'm in
oh,
love with him
never
from
mind.
Virgin River.
And see,
so
this is what happens.
I love him on Virgin River.
We get obsessed with the actors, and then we, whatever.
Mhm.
Amanda,
Oh, me.
your
Number 9.
Number 9.
Okay, this is where people are probably going to start getting mad at me because they're so low on my list,
Okay.
but it's going to be Mark and Lexi
Okay. That's okay.
because
They're my number 4.
they they were together for maybe 2 seconds.
I know, but
But it was a great
Yeah,
2
they
seconds.
wasn't that the
Yes.
most perfect 2 seconds ever? Oh,
I mean,
Yeah.
yes, I love them together, and like at the airplane at the end, whatever, that was like heart-wrenching. You could tell how much they loved each other.
mhm.
I love Mark and I love Lexi,
Yeah.
and I like them together, but I felt like Lexi was a little immature when
I
it
would
came
agree
to that
with that.
relationship.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And that infuriated me because Mark was also immature, but he was trying to do the right thing,
Yeah.
like with his daughter and stuff. And I felt Lexi was just like, that was
Yeah.
her choice. She didn't want to deal with it. She didn't have to deal with it. But
in her defense, Sloane was like, what, 7 years younger than her?
yeah.
Like, it was weird for her, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, but
I
she
don't know.
wanted
I
to be
think
with him. So
I
why
mean, I
keep
think you
fighting
lost
it?
your friend card.
Yeah. And you got together with the man who's like 12 years older than you. You can't be mad when his kid's almost your age. I mean,
No,
That's true.
you know?
like they're on my list because I do love when they were together, I did love it.
Yeah.
But they're low on my list because I have issues with, again, how the writers did that.
Yeah.
How they had their relationship. It was either, they were so wishy-washy, together, not together, together, not together,
Mhm.
together, not together.
I
Probably not
will
that many
say,
times, but you'll get what I'm saying.
I was like I said, I was watching videos, and I know everybody talks about like the speeches between Meredith and Derek and how they're so iconic. I swear, like one of my favorite is like the little monologue that Lexi gives to him, like talking about how much she loves him, and she kind of rambles and is all over the place. Like it's just such a sweet moment, and I forgot all about it till I was watching those videos. And he just kind of stands there like just really confused because he's with somebody else at the time, right? Is that why he's doing that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think so. But I just
Yeah.
love it. But it's because she's so adorable and sweet. I don't know. I like her a lot.
Yeah. Like I said, I love them both,
Yeah.
but they just weren't. I just really wish we had more time with them together. If
I
they
agree.
weren't so dang wishy-washy,
I
then we
know.
would have been able to have more time with them together, and they probably would have been way higher on my list.
Yeah.
But
I can understand that.
that's my reasonings.
Okay.
All right, Eve,
I'll allow it.
number 8.
This is when Shelby gets up to throw something at me. My
Uh-oh.
number 8 is Richard and Katherine.
Oh, good.
Look, I've made her mad. Look at her face.
So why do you love them, Eve?
Hard to explain. I don't know. I feel like they're really well. They're really well. They're both very smart,
Mhm.
talented doctors. So you would think that they really would not do well together as a couple, but somehow it just works. And I love their banter. Like he does things that make her crazy and vice versa. And then by the end of the episode, or not always by the end of the episode, but eventually it's like, you know what? It's all good.
Yeah.
I think that they understand each other.
Mhm.
They understand that, to be completely honest, their work comes first for
Yeah.
both of them.
Yeah. And just to piggyback off of what Shelby was saying before about how they had originally gotten together, I do think their relationship did start as more of like a companionship,
Mhm.
because I
Mhm.
know that does happen a lot with significant other, with, you know, people whose significant others are going through Alzheimer's. I know
Mhm.
my grandpa didn't do that because my grandma was his entire life.
Yeah.
But I know it does, I'm sure it does happen very often in real life where they seek
Mhm.
companionship when, you know, their spouse is going through Alzheimer's, and that's
Yeah.
how their relationship started.
It's got to be so hard. Like I try to look at it from the other point of view. Like if I was going through Alzheimer's and I have forgotten my husband and I am in a home, and I would think I would be okay with him moving on and finding someone to make him happy. In this instance where we know I'm not coming back. I mean, obviously if there's a chance of me coming back, yeah, no, you better sit your butt down and wait for me. But if there's not, then why shouldn't he go ahead and be happy? Because sometimes Alzheimer's, they can be like that. They can live for a very long time with this disease but not know anyone. And so
Sadly.
sometimes I think
And
it's almost
it takes a big toll on the caregiver too. So I mean, they need someone, they need a friend. Richard found a friend.
I agree with that. And you know, I think that they understood it, like Amanda was saying. I mean, they understood each other. I mean, the thing that bothered me the most about the Richard and Adele situation, like prior to the Alzheimer's, was how upset she always got with how much he was working and just all of this stuff. But he was chief of surgery. And I feel like it always bugged me just a little bit that she wasn't more understanding of that. And where I feel like, I don't know, Katherine and him were better matched in that way, that they understood what it took to be in that sort of position.
Yeah, I agree.
No rebuttals, Shelby?
I do, but I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
No.
Have at it, girl.
Tell us.
I'm gonna go on.
She doesn't want to get
I
fired.
don't like Katherine at all. I hate her with a
Yeah.
hot burning passion.
She's
Why?
not my favorite person.
I'm just curious.
like at all. But
Oh yeah, she's definitely not my favorite person, but I
No.
do love her with Richard.
but
That's-
I feel like she makes Richard happy and she lets him. I feel like she understands him. I feel like she's
she
a good
left
companion.
Him. She left him
Yeah,
when
she
he was
did.
sick.
She did. I know.
They were both.
Oh, they are neither of them are perfect, and I think that's why I feel like. I mean, they were an honorable mention of mine. They're not even on my list because I feel like they are just kind of like more companions and not really like a true like good couple. But like I was saying earlier, I like that they just, I feel like they just really understand each other.
Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
if they need okay, I have a good example. Their wedding day,
Mhm.
like they just packed up the foods, fed it to the hospital, and they did surgery.
Yeah.
And neither of them were upset or that mad because they just know that their careers do come first.
And I think, and not to say, because I mean, not all doctors are necessarily that way, but I think those two individually definitely are. And I think if you're going to be somebody who's going to be that married to your work, you're going to have to be with someone who's understanding of that.
Yeah.
I mean, same goes with like somebody like Christina. Like she will need someone like that will also understand that because it's going to be her life.
Oh yeah. That's why her and Owen didn't work out.
Exactly.
I think my problem is I can't get over my hate for Katherine to see the good in their relationship. And that's just me being honest.
Yeah. I mean, I have feelings like that towards a couple other people in the show or even other shows or sometimes this isn't the case here, but because honestly, I love her in real life, but sometimes if I don't like the actor, I'm not going to like the character. And that kind of, plays back and forth that sometimes you can't look past that. I don't like this character to really like them in anything they do.
Yeah. That's why I don't like Izzy.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Exactly. A lot of people don't like Izzy because they don't like Katherine Heigl.
Yeah, but now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I'm like, Izzy isn't that bad. Like, I actually like Izzy. But it's Katherine Heigl that just kind of turns me off a little bit.
See, I love Katherine Heigl, and I don't care all the bad stuff that I've heard about her. I don't care. I love her.
Me too. 27 Dresses, like one of my favorite movies ever.
You still haven't watched Firefly Lane, which is
that
really irritating me right now.
I forgot about that actually. Well, you all got me
it's on my
started.
list. It's on my list, and then everyone told me to watch Virgin River. So
well, y'all y'all added now Outer Banks to me. So
okay,
and you started
after Outer
Teen
Banks
Wolf again, and I had to join in because I had to. So.
Well, now I'm watching Teen Wolf.
I know, and I'm watching it with you.
Okay, back on topic.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Where were we?
Who's next?
I think it's my turn, but I've already talked about my number 8. So it's Amelia and Owen. So unless we have anything else,
I have a different number 8.
Okay, go ahead. Because maybe it was Shelby's turn. Sorry.
I don't know if they're really a couple. I don't remember if they really were, but Callie and Mark.
They're on my list too.
They're a couple-ish. I think that's fine.
Yeah,
if
they were
I think it works.
Love them.
Yeah.
Love them. and they were gonna be higher on my list up until I realized that I forgot people.
Yeah.
They were number one.
Really?
Really?
They were. I love them.
Oh, wow.
So much.
See, they're not on my list only because I don't see them as a couple, but I do love them as a pair, if that makes sense. Like, just not as a romantic pair.
No, I'm the same way. I love them
Mhm,
and I love I liked when they were together,
mhm.
kind of, but I feel like
I don't think, but
they were like best
they were
friends.
hot though.
They were
and,
kind of
like,
the
when they-
same thing as
Yeah.
I was saying earlier. They're just like, they were really good friends.
Mhm.
And I mean, I actually loved their relationship more after Callie was with Arizona.
Yeah.
I liked Callie and Mark's like friendship and co-parenting
Mhm.
relationship a lot.
I agree.
That's part of the reason why I love them, because unlike a lot of the people in the show, when they broke up, there was no drama. It was very low key. It was just, okay, we're best friends now.
Yeah.
All three of them co-parented very, very well together. I mean, obviously Callie and Arizona had their issues after the fact with Sophia, but like with Mark being in there, like he was kind of like the middleman. Like when there was fighting, he kind of shut it down. I just loved it.
Yeah. I agree with you. I liked them together.
Mhm.
like
I
them.
totally agree with that. Eve, what do you
I
have to
love-
say?
I love the dynamic of the three of them together because
Mhm.
I
Oh, yeah.
remember, Callie and Arizona. Now it's been a while, but I think Callie and Arizona, they were together. They were back together by the time, by the time Callie was deep into her pregnancy.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I remember, I just remember Mark and Arizona basically working together to make, Callie an annoyed, pissed off, angry, pregnant woman. She was like, okay, Mark, you need to leave.
Yeah.
And
They
she was
were-
just like, what is this? Like, you're not supposed to get along. And now you're both driving me crazy with all the health food.
Mhm.
I do. I remember that part and I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
I
like them.
I like that. I didn't even really think to put them on my list because I just don't
I
really
do have
think of
them a
them.
little. I do have them a little higher.
I
Their
honestly
dynamic was awesome. Yeah.
really.
Awesome.
I don't even think about. Maybe it's just because I honestly forget that they even hooked up until I'm like, oh wait, they got Sophia. But I don't even. I forget that it even happened because I'm just used to them being friends. I don't know.
Yeah. I did. I like their friendship better than I like them together, but their
Yeah.
whole dynamic was amazing.
I would agree.
All right, Jeanette, now it's your turn.
It's Amelia and Owen. So I think I've already said my piece about them.
Yep. All right. So then my number 8, rolling right off of you, Shelby, then is Callie in Arizona.
Oh,
So they're higher on my list.
They're
Yeah.
I
higher
knew they
on
were going
mine
to be higher
too.
on other people's. They were higher on mine, but I kept moving people around.
they're number 5 for me.
Number 2.
They would have actually been higher to me, but I had to think about their entire breakup.
Mm-hmm.
And that
That's-
really puts a huge damper on my order because I hated the custody battle. I was furious with Callie for leaving
Yes.
for Penny. Try not to say a bad word right now.
Pretty Penny.
Pretty
Pretty,
Penny.
yeah, there you go,
I
Pretty
know.
Penny. Which I could never stand that girl. And
Mhm.
nothing to do with Derek. I don't blame her for that. But
I blame.
don't-
No, I dislike her because she took Callie away, which in turn took Arizona
Yes.
away. It was one of my favorites. So
yeah, exactly. I thought
I
that
don't
really
care
made me
about
mad.
Derek.
I just miss Arizona.
I can't. Look,
So
this
were
is my
you-
turn. This is my couple, and I'm just getting mad over him right now.
Were you on? Let's talk. Were you on Callie's side or Arizona side during that custody battle? Because I'm
Arizona.
curious. Me too.
I wasn't on either one of their sides.
Yeah.
They both I don't know, I think one of them said it. I think it was Arizona that they both had the chance to do it right and they both did it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, thank you. Yes, you were both wrong.
yeah.
I
I think
would
they were
agree.
mad, and I think they were hurt.
Yeah.
I think they
Well-
were both they were both reacting. It was a
Yeah.
gut react, like for both of them, it was a gut reaction.
Well, it bothered me more that like Callie just, I mean, she made this huge decision without even consulting Arizona. And I mean,
Yep.
Arizona, in my opinion, Arizona is just as much Sophia's parent as Callie or Mark was. I mean,
Absolutely. She's
just
been there
as
since
much.
birth. I mean,
And so, I mean, there's no reason why she should have made that decision without discussing her. So, in my
No.
opinion, like Arizona reacting to that, it's exactly how I probably would have reacted to it if my husband tried to like just take off with my kids.
yeah, I mean, I'm still not happy of how it even her like sending Sophia back off to live with Callie after going through all that emotional
Yeah.
turmoil that not only they had to go through, but we as fans had to go through.
Mhm.
And then just,
But they're probably living happily ever after
Yes.
right now as we speak. So
So that makes me happy.
yeah.
maybe.
Maybe.
What,
I'm gonna
what
pretend
Callie,
like they are.
Arizona, and Penny?
No, Penny's gone now.
No,
Isn't-
Penny's
isn't she
gone. She's
done?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think Arizona, sorry, I keep getting their names mixed up for some reason. Arizona had mentioned to someone that Callie and Pretty Penny had broken up.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't remember that.
It was right, but because when she moved,
I think she was telling April that like right before
Mhm.
Oh,
she left or
Kinda gave us
something.
hope that they were going to rekindle when she got up there.
hopefully. They
Yeah.
kind of did the same thing as
I'm going to
others.
believe that they're
Another couple.
together and they're all living happily ever
I
after.
like to believe that. I have another couple that I'm going to believe that about as well that we'll talk about later.
Oh, I
same.
think I know who your number one is, Jeanette.
I'm sure you do.
And they're pretty high on my list. So
They are mine too. Shelby, no 2 cents.
About what? The
Arizona and
people high
Cali.
on the list,
Yeah,
or Arizona and Cali?
Arizona and Callie.
Oh, I think that they brought out the good in each other to an extent, but they also brought out the worst in each other when they fought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they went through, I
And-
mean, no, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just gonna say, of all the couples, I feel like they went through the most
Yeah.
struggles. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, even when Arizona cheated, I mean, I don't know, she was just in such a bad place. And not that it's okay. I mean, I'm not condoning it, but I can't even imagine how she was feeling and the trauma she was going through at the time. So maybe I do excuse it a little bit, you know?
I mean, it was Hillary Burton, so
Another reason, no, that I don't like her. No, I love Hillary Burton. I don't want to say that. Don't care for I just don't like the character she plays.
The other thing I was gonna say too, like Callie, I love Callie. You guys know she's one of my favorite characters.
Mhm.
But she could be kind of selfish too. And I think it's that rich girl attitude kind of in a
Oh,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like even like I love Callie. I can pretty much excuse pretty much anything that Callie does. But when Callie was acting funny after Arizona lost her leg, like talking about that, like she was feeling this and she was feeling that and blah blah blah, like that made me want to go through the TV and slap her in the face.
Mm.
Because whatever she's going through, you have every right to feel the way that you feel about your spouse losing their leg, but imagine what they're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their feelings are 10 times 1,000
Mhm.
most likely what you're doing, plus they're actually the ones that have to look at it every day and
Yeah.
put on a fake leg, like not trying to sound insensitive, but they're the ones that have to put on the fake leg, like they're the ones that have to do like
Yeah.
actually deal with it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
plus the
Yeah.
trauma of the accident, losing it from the start
Mhm.
anyways. Like
Yeah.
Arizona was going through a lot, and I feel like Callie just wasn't in tune to that. She was being pretty
Yeah.
selfish.
And
Yeah.
I kind of understood.
I
I
did
was like,
too.
Arizona's, Arizona's struggling, and Callie just lost the father of her child, and she's having to take care of Sophia and Arizona. But at the same time, I was like, can't you just save like the freak out session for,
Yeah.
a friend, someone at work, not just freak out on your wife who's struggling with losing her leg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a tough one. I mean, I feel like I felt for both of them. I mean, just
Same.
Didn't Arizona, or I my gosh, didn't Callie make the decision for them to amputate the
Yes.
leg for her? She made that
Yeah.
decision, right?
She did.
Yeah. I think she was, wait, did she, or was she trying to, and somebody else stepped in and made the decision?
No,
I
she
can't remember.
did because she
It
had to
was
do
her.
it as
Mhm.
yeah, she had to do it as she was basically Arizona's surgeon. She had to do it as Arizona's surgeon, not Arizona's wife.
Well,
And that's where the line was crossed because Arizona was like, I told you not to do this. And Callie was like, I was your surgeon. I had to.
yeah. Wasn't there something for some reason Arizona thought that Alex made the decision? I don't feel like there was like some mix
Yeah,
up
I feel like
there,
something with Alex.
but I don't remember who actually made the decision and
That-
who she was blaming. I can't remember.
That sounds right, but
I think it was
been so long.
Callie, and I think Alex was just taking the blame for a while, just as being a good guy, and so that Callie wouldn't have to tell her like, no, I decided.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Alex was covering for her. And then
Mhm.
finally, Callie, I think finally Arizona was being like rude to Alex saying something. And Callie was like, well, I was the one that did this or something like that.
That's
It wasn't
okay. I just
him.
Googled it. Alex told Arizona that it was him who cut off her leg, not Callie.
Mhm.
But then later on, he told her that, or Callie told her that she's actually the one who did it.
Yeah.
So, also, Shelby.
So on July 28th, we started putting a code word into our podcasts. The first one was in our Vampire Diaries podcast. The code words will be turned in at the end of August. We will give you directions on August 30th how to turn them into us. And whoever has the most will win a special prize from us podcasters. And it's a good prize, not just an edit. We have to mail you something. So for this podcast, our code word is calzona. The code word is calzona.
That's
Calzona.
Calzona. As in
Calzona.
Cali in Arizona. Calzona.
And we have a teacher as one of the people that are going to be looking at the answers. So spelling counts, guys.
This is true. Spelling and grammar. Are we on number 7?
Number 7, Eve.
My number 7 is it's half Grey's Anatomy and half Station 19.
Ooh, okay.
It's Karina and Maya.
Oh, I love
like that
them.
one.
I didn't even think about putting them because I think of them as a Station 19 couple, but they work because
I think of them as a Station 19 couple too, because I think most of all the big parts of their relationship seem to take place on Station 19.
Yeah.
So like their engagement, their wedding, them moving in together, that was all on Station 19. And I'm sitting here thinking I'm sitting here thinking if people don't watch Station 19, they have no idea who this Maya girl is.
Well,
I like
she's
Maya.
not very likable except for when she's with Karina, which is what makes them a great couple.
I didn't like her until she started dating Karina. I was like,
Same.
oh wait, I like her now.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I do.
Same, because Karina's amazing, and I feel like she can
Yeah.
bring out the best in anyone.
Very true.
Yeah, and Maya was DeLuca's favorite. What did he say? You're my favorite girlfriend sister I've ever met.
Oh,
Oh,
He's on my list too.
he's on mine too.
of course he is. He's on mine too.
Here.
I was afraid I'd get fired if I didn't put him somewhere.
That's right.
I was like, Jeanette's gonna kick me out for real.
Andrew.
No, they're good. All right. I like that though. I like that you brought in Station 19.
A little plug. Watch it if you don't already watch Station 19. Tune in. It's good.
Great.
I still haven't watched it. I've seen episodes, but I do want to actually start with.
Yeah, they do
The
cross
first one,
over.
yeah.
I would say like 90% of the time.
Yeah.
It's a crossover, and we do see Bailey a lot on
Yeah,
Station 19.
a lot. I need
Yeah,
to
I
finish
mean-
the last season. I got to the part where DeLuca dies and I had to watch it again. And then I had to stop because I was like, I need a break because this has been too much. I've already cried about this enough. So I got to pick it back up so I can finish before the new season's out. So
Oh, that starts in, when does the new Grey's Anatomy come out? September?
I don't know.
I think
Let
it's
me
think it-
Google.
first.
It usually comes out in September.
I think I posted it in the group.
I think it's the 23rd.
Okay.
I'm looking now.
That would be Thursday.
Can't wait.
It is set to premiere on September 30th.
Okay.
Oh, 30th.
That's what it says on.
That's a
on-
long wait.
I know.
Kind of
Oh.
mean.
Actually, guys, it's only next month. That sounds
That's true.
really crazy.
Oh,
That
God.
September is next month.
dang. Well, now that I'm teaching again, the months are gonna feel really, really long. So
Oh,
True.
poor Eve.
Mine are about to speed up because
I was
my
gonna
kids
say,
are about to go back to
As
school.
as the parents, we're like, yes, everything's gonna
Yay.
speed up now. Summer is where it drags.
Oh my gosh.
oh no, my summer was like maybe like a 30-minute lunch break.
I feel
I
like
was
your
like, what did
summer
I
was
do?
very short too.
Yeah. It did feel short this year, I think. We've
Yeah.
been busy this summer, so I don't know.
It was a really stressful year last year. So I feel like
Yeah,
the
forever.
the last couple school years I feel were like 4 years.
I imagine. Yeah.
I get it.
imagine.
I
I'm
get
in
it.
for another long one again. So
I feel sorry for you guys. I feel sorry for all those teachers out there really this year. Last year and this year.
You are our heroes for sure.
Man. Yep.
Mhm.
All right, Shelby, number 7.
My number 7 is Meredith and Luca.
Mine too.
Mine too.
Ah, that
They're
works
my
out
num-
perfect.
they're my number 6.
Well, this was perfect. We'll just talk extra long about DeLuca here for a minute.
Oh, darn.
Oh,
The
what will
change.
we do?
Are they your number 7 too, Amanda?
Yep.
That all worked out perfectly.
Yeah, good timing, everyone.
Good job. Good job, guys.
And we did not compare the lists. This was
Nope.
completely random.
No.
Yes.
All right. So DeLuca and Meredith, who wants to start us off?
You know, I love them. And it's, I know. Okay, so I'm not the biggest Derek fan. You guys all know this. There was something so, I just really loved like their chemistry between him and Meredith. I felt like they worked. Like I know the age difference was there, and I know that that caused a little bit of the problem, but the chemistry, like the physical chemistry, and then not to mention, just the way they work together. I really hate that they took him from us because I really feel like they were in a good place. I feel like what was holding them back from going further was his mental health, and he had that under control finally. And I
Yeah.
really felt like had he not died, they could have been a really amazing couple now that he had that under control.
Because I was really excited. I was like, oh, now that he has a handle on his mental health, they're finally going to start going somewhere again.
Yeah.
And then they took him away.
Yeah.
I was like,
Ripped
well, that
our
was
hearts
just
out.
really, really, really mean.
Really rude.
And he didn't
Yeah.
even write us a letter.
Rude.
I
Yeah.
would have taken a letter.
At least
from him.
at least Alex gave us a letter.
Ugh.
Oh man. No.
I was so glad that they did that that they had that mental health storyline with him too.
I
Yes.
agree.
Because I know especially with COVID and everything, mental health has been
Mhm.
a really big thing. I know a lot of teachers I know have struggled with mental health.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see that done really well on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, kudos to him too. I mean, his acting was so spot on. I mean, down to like the mannerisms of someone who's going through like a manic attack like that. I mean, he was so good, I think. I mean, just in the
Yeah.
way that portrayed that. I mean, it was really
Absolutely.
really,
He's a
really
brilliant
good.
actor for sure.
That was a very long start, I felt like.
Too
Very
long.
long, slow start.
Very long, slow start. Like I was rewatching and I was kind of, where was I? I was rewatching and then we started doing the rewatch in the group. So then I didn't finish my rewatch. I had to go back. So they weren't even together yet whenever I had to go back. So I just feel like it's taking forever because I know it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm trying to now, well, when I was rewatching up to then, I was trying to see, was there any hints or did we sense it was coming? I don't feel like that early on we did.
No, because you know, like I said, me starting late, I have a really bad habit of, you all know this, of Googling everything before I watch something.
Yeah.
And so like I knew they were coming up as a couple, but watching it, I was like, how are they going to be a couple? Because I don't see it. I don't see it at all. And then all of a sudden they were, and I was like, oh, I love this.
I did not like the idea of them together as a couple during that like slow start. But then once it finally happened, I was like, oh, no, never mind. I like this.
I think the
Same.
moment he started speaking Italian to her, I was like,
Oh
okay,
my gosh.
Oh,
I'm sold.
like, I don't care what, like, he could have been cursing me out and I would
Say
have been like,
anything you want to me.
oh.
See, I loved when she just started, he was speaking Italian to her, and then she started speaking it back to him. And I was like, oh, whoa.
He loved it too. I think that was part of he was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, like, oh wow.
I was like, man, that's hot.
yes. Yes. Loved it.
I was like, that. And I mean, we've been watching her for, I don't know what season was that. 14, 15?
I think it
I don't know.
was maybe 14 or 15.
After 10 seasons, they all started to blend
I
together.
think he
I
showed
know.
up in like 14, but it probably happened in 15.
15. I'm thinking it's somewhere around there.
Yeah.
You guys can correct us. I don't know. But
15 sounds about right.
It might even be closer to 16 because
it might be.
last season was 17. And so I think the
Yeah.
season before is when they were together, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the whole first season he was going back and forth with what's her name? Sam?
Sam.
And Maggie. He was with Maggie.
Oh
then
yeah,
he was Maggie first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. They
I
were
do
not
too.
good together. I didn't like that relationship.
I didn't like them.
No, I did not like that relationship. And
I didn't like him
I
with
like
Sam
Maggie.
either, though.
Huh?
I love Maggie.
I
but
love
I did
Maggie.
not like them together.
No, I didn't. I don't feel like they meshed.
Well, now she has
No.
her mystery man that we're still not sure if we like him or not. So
I think I like him. I'm good with him now.
I want to like him.
I do.
I need another season with him, and then I'll like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like after the kind of the George Floyd inspired episode, I feel like that is when I started trusting him.
Yeah, me too.
Actually, I felt more comfortable with him.
Yeah.
Guys, I know that talking to everybody out here listening to us, but we know this is all make believe, but
Well,
It's not make believe to us.
it is. What? Tell that to all the crazy.
It's
I
very,
get so
very
into
real.
these conversations. I have to like remind myself these people are not real.
They're very real in my brain.
That's right.
And while I'm at the hospital today, guys, all I kept thinking about was Grey's Anatomy.
That's
Like when
all
are the
I-
real? It's like when are the
Yeah.
real doctors like Meredith Grey going to get here and take care of me?
Well, that was my thought when we thought you were having appendicitis. I was thinking, oh, Meredith will take care of her. Okay.
All right.
Breathe, Amanda.
So
I think we are on number
6.
6. But Eve has already said her 6 because
But we're gonna skip. Yeah, we're gonna skip me because my number 6 was
Meredith and DeLuca.
yes.
my number 6
So,
has
Shelby?
actually already been said. So
My number 6 was April and Jackson.
number 6.
6.
They're my number 3.
They're
They're
my
my
number
number 2.
1.
I knew they would be your
I knew
number
they
number
were
one.
my number 1.
All right. April
That's
and
my
Jackson.
number
That's another
3.
good one.
Let's talk about April.
That they're
and Jackson.
living happily ever after in Boston right now. Change my
Absolutely.
mind. I dare you.
No, I won't accept anything else until someone shows me otherwise. That is
We
what I'm going to
better get a spinoff.
Wouldn't that
Jackson
just
and
be the
April.
best? Oh,
No, people
And-
were honestly talking about it.
Well,
It's
and
not
what-
just us.
I mean,
Didn't
it'd be cool. We could have, Arizona and
she
Cali could just come on over from New York and join them, and then I would be in heaven because that would
it'd
be
be like, ooh, they can open a practice together, right? Can we
Do
do
it.
another private practice, but like
Yes. I mean,
over on
we've
the East
got-
Coast?
We've got almost everything
Yeah.
covered that way. Yeah.
I would watch the heck out of that show.
Let's do it. Make it happen, people. Make it happen.
Come on, Krista. You can do it.
You can do it. Shonda, if you're listening, talk to Krista. We need it.
Please.
Now, I do not like, I'm not an April fan at all.
Go away.
Why they
But-
were.
Now,
that's
Eve,
why they were
those are the
big.
words that are going to get you fired.
Yes.
Okay?
I'm
Those are
not-
the words that are
but-
gonna get you fired.
But I am an April and Jackson fan. I do love
Okay.
the two of them together. They're a
That's
great
how I
couple.
feel.
And I was very sad because they've been on again, off again. Right?
Yeah.
Like I was always very sad whenever they broke up and then they got back together. I was like, yay! And then they break up again. Like, no.
I know.
And then she leaves to be with Matthew. And I was like, what the
Stupid.
heck, man?
They're
Stupid.
divorced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now they're divorced and
I mean, we
she
knew
and
that
Jackson
wasn't-
are happily ever after.
That was never going to
Yes.
last. We knew it.
I don't know. I honestly thought they would.
You thought they would
Matthew-
last?
Matthew and April?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he had to go be with Maddie on Sweet Magnolias anyway. So
Yeah. Very true.
There was never going to be anyone for April other than Jackson. That's
They
my
just,
thought.
yeah, no, April and Jackson they're my number two. I love
I
them.
didn't-
Chemistry is
I
like
forgot. Yeah, I'd forgotten how much I loved their chemistry and how their dynamic until we saw April again.
Mhm.
He was like, I'm not telling you to calm down. I promise. I just want you to let me in the house. It's like, oh my
See?
gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love them.
they're another couple that I feel like it's the opposites attract, that they just like they're nothing alike, but somehow they bring out the very best in each other.
Because he's very realist and she's very like sunshine and happy and rainbows.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, again, same thing as last time. It's just they work together.
They do.
They work together. They have Harriet together.
Well, and we've seen them like not be together, but still be amazing co-parents together. So I think
Yep.
not only are they like a great couple, they're also best friends. And I think, I mean, if anyone in the world's in game, it's them. That's my opinion. You can't change my mind.
I knew they were going to be your number one.
Oh yeah. I
I
knew that.
love
too.
them.
We all knew that.
I put them higher up for the same reason as Eve did. I don't care for April, but Jackson did make April tolerable for
Mhm.
the most
You want
part.
to know what's so funny to me is I don't really like Jackson without April, but I love April. So I feel the exact opposite. Now, I don't dislike Jackson, but I don't care for him either way, except
I
for when
miss-
he's with April.
I'm going to miss seeing his face on that screen.
Obviously,
every
he's
week.
pretty.
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
he's freaking gorgeous. I mean, there's no denying that. I'm not saying that. But as far as character,
He is
Didn't
one
care.
handsome man.
I just totally
Absolutely.
spaced out there. You guys would probably see it in camera. I was just imagining him. Like I have no idea what you guys just said in the past 10 seconds.
Just had Jackson Avery on the brain.
you know, just-
I was like his eyes. Oh my gosh, he's just beautiful. He's a beautiful, beautiful man.
yeah, he
Yes,
definitely
If
Knows
you're
it. That's
listening-
okay.
Jesse,
Huh?
if you're listening, please come on our podcast.
And bring
We all
Sarah.
miss you.
Okay, so what number and
We
what
are
person
on.
are we on?
That was my number 6.
Yeah. So Jeanette, what was your number 6?
We've done my number 6, Arizona and Cali. So
Okay. Well, my number 6 was Izzy and Alex.
okay,
So we've already discussed them. So back to Eve, number 5.
My number 5 was Mark and Callie.
okay, we talked about them.
Yep, we talked about them, but
Let's move it along. No,
let's move it along. Let's go, guys.
come on.
Eve's got
Make it
school tomorrow.
snappy.
Gotta go to bed. So what about you, Shelby? What? Let's see. What's your number 5 then?
My number 5, we already talked about. It was Alex and Joe.
Okay,
See, I knew this was going to happen. I told you guys we would have a lot of the same people.
I still got 2 that haven't been talked about. So
Oh, I still
Yeah,
have
mine-
4.
No
I-
one's taken my number 1 yet. So
I have 2 that haven't been talked about also.
my number
Oh,
5.
actually, I
has-
have a couple.
my number 5's not been talked about. So
All right. What's your number 5?
it is Amelia and Link.
Oh, they're my number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
some
them a lot.
For some reason, I forgot to put them on my list, but I do love them.
I love them.
That's okay.
And I'm mad. I
We're
don't even
mad.
think the word mad at Amelia right now could do it.
Mm.
I am royally
Yeah.
peed off.
I think I'm disappointed in Amelia.
I'm
not
very-
necessarily mad at her because
I'm
mad.
very disappointed.
she's going
I'm
through some
disappointed
stuff,
and I'm mad. I'm both.
but I'm disappointed that she handled this incorrectly. I think the man
But-
stood there with 3 different rings held by 3 adorable freaking children.
Four different rings.
You're
Yeah.
right, it's 4.
Because he was holding one of them. I
Because he
was
was
like,
holding one
3 of
too.
the kids, and you said no.
I would have said yes and give me all 4 of those rings.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, as long as I get to keep all the rings. Done.
My gosh, and I'm sure we will see more into it in the new season. I'm at least
Yeah.
hoping we will. And maybe she does have a excuse that will calm us all down. But the way they ended that, I'm not happy with it.
I think she's just struggling with just everything right now. I really am confident that they're gonna be back together and that they are in game and that everything will be fine. I really have confidence in that, but
yeah, I
think it's gonna
do.
take some time.
I do love them together. But my biggest problem with their relationship was just at the end. Like, I think the season finale was my biggest problem with their relationship because they don't
Mhm.
communicate.
Yeah.
He said
Yeah.
yes to fostering
Joe.
to fostering Luna without talking to Amelia, and obviously
True.
she went along with it because, I mean, she's not a cold-hearted person. Of course she's going to say
Right.
yes now because they can't just back out.
Yeah.
And then he went ahead and proposed marriage when they hadn't even agreed on it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I mean-
come on, this isn't how a married they shouldn't be married, maybe, because this isn't
Granted, I
how
wish
it
like
works.
I think he did hint at it and she would not tell him how she was actually feeling. I wish she had been honest then, and I don't think she would have went ahead with an actual proposal.
Yeah. And she kept telling him
Yeah.
she didn't want to
She
get
kind of
married.
just kept stepping, or I don't feel like she like was too direct about it though. I feel like she kept kind of stepping around it.
Yeah. I always got the feeling that he shouldn't have asked her. Like whenever I saw him proposing, I cringed
Yeah.
because I felt like it
My-
was coming.
Oh gosh, yeah, my heart started racing,
Mhm.
and then I started panicking, and I said, "Oh my God, she's gonna say no. She's gonna say no."
Yeah.
And then she said no, and I was
Yeah.
really mad.
And I hate that.
Yeah.
And I feel like, yes, he wants more kids. And I think that's what's holding her up. But at the same time, like, I do think that he loves her enough that all she had to do was communicate that she doesn't want any more kids. And I think he would decide that her and Scout are enough and it would be okay. I don't think he would press the issue.
Because she never got around to telling him that she doesn't want any more kids. And I think I agree. If she had just been like, hey, I know you want more kids, but that's not, in the cards for me, I think
Right.
he'd be cool with that.
I think he would. And then maybe she would be more okay with saying yes to the proposal if she knew there wasn't this other stuff attached to it.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point.
So you're right. Communication is the key here. They need to like talk more. And maybe him moving in with Joe, maybe Joe will somehow talk some sense into him and get him back on track.
I just
Speaking of-
know that I just know that at the end of September, we're going to see a disheveled Link hanging around
Oh.
Joe's house.
Yeah.
I will seriously riot if they make any kind of move with Link and Joe.
No,
Don't
I will
Do
quit.
it.
Yep, I will quit. I will stop watching.
I will
Maybe not
quit
for real,
watching,
but I will.
But I
be
will.
upset.
I will riot in my
will
house. I
complain
will
of-
riot.
We will complain about it on our podcast for sure.
I do not want it to
And I'll make a
happen,
post.
but I really think it's going to, guys. I really think
We'll
it's
make
gonna
an- We'll make a nasty edit in the
I don't
group.
think so. I don't
and
think
we'll
they'll
be
do it.
upset.
I hope not, but
They
I'm
better
scared that they'll
not.
do it, but I don't think they'll do it. Please, if you're listening, anybody out there, don't do it.
because Krista, I'm sure she listens to our podcast. Yeah, right. Everyone.
Okay.
Always say no.
If somebody knows Krista's long lost second
Yeah.
cousin, please tell
Get the
her.
word out to her that we will riot. We don't like it.
Please don't ruin that. Make it another Alex and Meredith.
That's what I hope.
That's
Make
we
them
need
the
a new
next
one.
Alex and Meredith, please.
Oh, I will seriously, I'll be so mad. All right. Who are we on?
Number 5. Does anybody have a 5 that we haven't? No, I think you all
Me.
said. Okay, what is it?
My number 5. None of you guys can hit me. My number 5 is Christina and Owen.
No, I almost put them on my list, so it's cool.
Okay.
Amanda, you and I agree on these things for the most part.
I know. I liked their, okay. I don't think they were a forever type of thing,
Mhm.
but I loved the beginning of their relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know, just the way he grabs her. I know a lot of
So
people hate the way he
passionate.
kisses
No,
and stuff,
I love it.
but I love it.
I love it.
Just to me, it's
Push her
like
up against
passion.
the wall. I love it. I love
Yeah,
every bit
like
of
on
it.
the roof with the blowing and just, I love the beginning of their relationship. And actually, I loved them to the very end
I do
of their
too.
relationship. But I mean,
I think that
I feel like they weren't forever.
Yeah, I do think that I think that they will always love each other. I do think it's a really strong, but I think they're just not, they won't work. And I think they know that.
Yeah.
But
And I still believe they're friends.
Yeah.
In show world, they're still friends. And
no, I love it. I was watching a scene when I was watching stuff before we started this of him, like, where he pushed her up against the, they're standing outside there waiting for the ambulance and he shoves her up against the wall. And
Yep.
I think it's great. I know a lot of people are weird. Like, why does he kiss like that? I think it's great.
Yeah. I like them two together. That was a hot and heavy world romance.
And even more than that, like if you were like after the accident when she's going through all of her PTSD, I mean, he's really there to help her through that. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I don't understand the Owen hate. I think Owen is really great to most of his partners. I mean, I know he's had some slip ups, but so has everyone else in this show.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
I think he's a good guy.
He choked her, which wasn't cool,
But that part wasn't his
that's
fault. I mean,
real.
it was PTSD. I mean, you can't fault
that's
him for
real
that.
stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
soldiers coming back from overseas, they really do experience this stuff, and it really does happen.
Yeah.
So I thought it was great that they kind of made an awareness of that and put it out there. And that, I mean, not saying it's great that it happened, but I'm saying it's great that they're making awareness out of it.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Yep. Number 5, Christina and Owen.
Even Shelby, you're very quiet on the Christina and Owen.
I know.
What are your feelings?
I used to not like Owen, but you've convinced me. I've changed my mind about Owen.
I feel like we have a way of doing this. We convince Eve all kinds of stuff.
Because the more I hear you talking, I'm like, why did I not like Owen? He's not that bad a person.
He's not any worse than anybody else on the show.
I love Owen.
I mean, I don't know how anyone can be a fan of Derek, but
I don't love him. I don't love Owen, but I don't dislike him anymore.
No, I love him. But I also love Kevin McKidd.
Yeah.
So that puts again, like we were talking about earlier, if you love the actor, you're probably going to love the character.
Yeah.
And I do. I love Owen and I like Kevin McKidd. So
see, I don't know Kevin McKidd before this, so it's all the Owen love.
Kevin McKidd, you can come talk to us too.
Oh my gosh, that would be
bring
so good.
Bring Sarah Drew and Jesse Williams with you.
Please. Yes.
Justin Chambers too, if you can.
Bring them all.
Yeah.
But dye your hair back to brown first.
No, don't let them change you, Justin. I will love you with the blonde hair.
Shelby, any thoughts about Christina and Owen?
I didn't really care either way for them. Like, I didn't hate them, but I didn't love them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was kind of neutral. Like, they had their times. Like, yes, their relationship was hot and heavy, but like when they fought, like it was a blowout fight. Like it was huge. And I don't know, like the type of person I am, I just can't imagine like living your life that way. If you're gonna be with someone for the rest of your life, like why deal with that? You know what I mean?
So I know we've been talking about, opposites attract, and they were not opposites.
No.
No.
So I think that's why they were so, at each other
Mhm.
a lot of the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
Does anyone have a number 4 that we haven't discussed?
I do.
Go.
Well, I don't know. You guys might yell at me for this, and if it doesn't count, then I'll give you one of the other ones that wasn't said yet. But I have Derek and Addison.
That works. They were married. Yeah.
They were, but they were kind of on the outs when the show started, so I didn't
Okay.
know.
No,
But-
I mean, it
Well,
counts. It absolutely counts.
when she came back, they decided to make it
To
work.
try.
Yeah.
That's
They were
true.
together. And if it, you guys
don't
know
like
my
them.
stance on it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Meredith,
Mhm.
I would have wanted Derek with Addison.
Yeah. I don't know.
100%.
I love Addison. I'm not
Yeah.
a Derek fan, but I love Addison.
I just never saw the chemistry between the two of them. I like Addison too, but I just never felt any spark between them.
I can agree with that, Jeanette, but like the one thing that I loved about them is Addison kept Derek on the ground. Like
Sure.
his head was always so high up on the clouds, thinking that he's better than everybody else. Like Addison leveled him out, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I can agree.
And
with
that's the one thing that I loved about them is that she was the only person that ever did that. Meredith pretty much kissed the ground at his feet,
that. Mhm.
which I know they're higher on Amanda's list, so we'll talk about that later. But
You don't know
Amanda.
that. You don't know that.
We know that.
I
know
think
that.
we
know
do.
that.
That might
we
surprise you.
won't talk about that right now.
I
But
don't think you will, but okay.
I don't know, like Derek had more of a god, and I'm using that in quotation, god complex when he was with Meredith, whereas Addie kind of kept him level, like you're not all that in a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved Addison, and I'd forgotten. I remember that I loved her, but now that I'm rewatching, I'm like halfway through season 2 right now. I was like, I love her. She's a classy lady.
Mhm.
Like she came back to find out that her husband's shacking up with another woman.
She
And
was
now
shacking up
she's-
with Mark.
True.
Yeah, well, that's true. But like she comes back, and then she's like, she comes back, and
Our murder fan over here is jumping right in there.
yeah, and then Addison's sticking up for Meredith when a patient was upset that she was
Mhm.
sleeping with Dr. Montgomery Shepherd's husband. She was like, no, Dr. Gray didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it's all me. I
Mhm.
was like, oh, that is a classy lady.
Hmm.
I want to be friends with her.
I do love Addison.
Yeah, I do too. I like Addison. I just didn't like her getting in the way with Meredith and Derek. Sorry, guys.
Okay, that's how I feel about Matthew, so it's good.
We get it.
Exactly.
We all have our favorites. It's okay.
Yep.
That's why I don't like Joe that much.
All right. Well, did anybody else have a number?
My number 4 hasn't been said yet, but I know I think it's Eve's number 1. My number 4 is Ben and Miranda.
Oh, that's
They're my number 1.
Yeah.
They're my number 3.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know really what to say about them other than I feel like they're the most solid couple on the show.
Absolutely. I feel like they're the
Um,
most real.
Mm-hmm.
They're very real, very solid. And I feel like, Bailey cannot be an easy person
No.
to be married to at
No,
all, which
not at all.
is partly why her relationship with, which is why her marriage with Tucker fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
But Ben really just levels her out
Yeah.
really well. Like he brings her back down.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, to her defense, I don't think he's probably very easy to be with either, considering how often he changes his mind about everything.
Yeah, can you imagine
About
being
really-
Bailey and having your husband changing careers like
Like
3
3
times?
times.
This
in
is
like a
his- he's
matter of
on
a
his-
few years.
Yeah, he's on his 3rd career.
I mean, that's
And
a
not
lot.
like little careers.
No, not like just changing jobs or whatever, going to work for a new company. Like you're starting back at the bottom every time.
And I'm sorry,
Like-
but he keeps going lower and lower in the
I know.
salary
And
right here.
I appreciate his
which-
passion that he goes with what he wants to do, doesn't worry about like what kind of money he's making but
Could you
maybe-
imagine Marianne, an anesthesiologist, and the next thing you know, he's a firefighter?
Well, he's an intern, a surgical intern, and then he's a fire. Then after he finally gets almost through that, and he decides to go be a firefighter. Like,
I know, which I think he's great as a firefighter.
I think so too.
So
But
I can't
would-
really complain about it because I mean I love him as a firefighter.
I would be ready to kill my husband if he decided to make such a career move all of a sudden. Like, so
Yeah.
But I like how, I mean, yeah, like you said, they're real. I mean, I feel like they're not perfect, not at all. I mean, they've even had where they split up, where they separated for just a little bit, but
Yeah.
I feel like they deal with their problems in a way that like seems like how you would actually do it in real life. I mean, it's really,
Yeah.
I enjoy them a lot.
Yep. I like they show their fights. They show
Mhm.
that it's real. And then, they don't just get over stuff. They talk about it. Yeah.
And he's a great father to Tucker.
I actually went back and
Tucker,
forth with them being my number one.
Yeah. I mean, if I was to try to just look at things logically, they should be my number one. But of course, I let my feelings and all that other stuff get in the way. And so the other ones are up there. But I mean, like, if we're talking like who is the best couple on Grey's Anatomy, it's Ben and Miranda.
Yeah. I agree with you.
So,
But again, my feelings get in the way. So,
yeah. So there's that. But no, they're great.
no. Okay. So, that was your number 4.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a number 4?
All of
Anybody
mine have been
a-
taken.
Anybody have a number 3?
No, mine was Mark and Lexi.
Mine was Ben and Bailey.
Mine was Mark and Lexi.
Number 3. Mine was Jackson and April.
Okay.
All right. Does anybody have a number 2?
Mine
I
was
had
Alex
Alex
and Izzy.
I had Alex and Joe.
Calzona.
Mine was April and Jackson.
Here
All right.
comes the moment.
Number 1.
Are you ready, Amanda? You're the only one that has a number 1 left, right? Because mine's Jackson and
Just
April.
me.
Yeah, mine was Jackson and April.
Who was your number 1, Shelby?
Ed and Bailey.
Oh, same.
All right, so let's,
What's your idea in the group
discuss.
chat?
All right. My number 1, guys, is
Drum roll.
Teddy and Owen.
Oh, you're a liar.
Oh,
You're
Okay,
a liar.
Just kidding. Just
She's
kidding,
a
guys.
liar.
yeah.
No
For a
way.
second, I was like, "Oh, wait, really? No."
No.
I was going to try to keep a straighter face longer than that.
I would have never believed it. No.
But they actually are on my honorable mentions. I do just want to give them a shout out.
I mean, if you
I
had
think
been
they've
doing
come a
this
long
list,
way.
if you'd been starting at the top and then said, I would have been like, oh, okay, because maybe they're not number 1. But no, you haven't even mentioned the couple, so we know who it is. Go ahead.
Meredith and Derek is my number 1, and you guys know that.
Ew.
Yes, I am on the train. I don't care. I am on the murder train, and I am leading
mur-
it.
It sounded like you
No.
just said you're on the murder train.
I did. I'm on the murder train.
Here's my thing. And honestly,
MER.
for me, okay, Derek and Meredith, I mean, amazing chemistry. No one can deny that. I mean, the actor and I mean, like, they're great together. So then when they're good, they're really good. And
Yeah.
I'm totally on board.
Oh yeah.
But then when they're not, it's so bad that it's really toxic. And so I can't support it because Derek is just, the way he treats her bothers me.
Same.
Sometimes he's great. It's really confusing. It's the epitome of an abusive relationship because when it's good, it's really good. And when it's bad, it's incredibly toxic, in my opinion.
See, and when I watch, I don't feel like I see that as much as other
So-
people do.
I mean, like if you take the moments, and I'm not gonna argue because I mean it's fine. I mean they're your favorite. Like I said, if we had done top 15, I would have put them in there because I do like them some of the time. Like the parts when he's like calling her a whore, like because she's like, I mean, excuse me, like you left and went back to your wife. Like in my opinion, like no one should ever talk to you like that. I don't care if you're in an argument. I don't care, like a man should never, and a woman either. You can't name call each other if you care about each other. That's an unhealthy relationship. Like there should be no name calling ever. You can have arguments, you can disagree, but you can't call each other names like that. I mean, that's terrible.
I mean, I never fully agreed on every single part of their relationship. I had disagreements, and there was parts where I was like, no.
Yeah.
But in the end, I love how far they came.
Yeah.
I love that the family they made.
Yeah.
And when they were good, they were so good.
I would agree with that.
And just, I don't know, actually going back and rewatching and just, I mean, the very first scene of the entire series is their first time together. So you just start out with that, and you just.
And Patrick Dempsey is absolutely adorable. So I mean, like, I'm totally like, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't hate it. They're not my favorite.
Yeah, I just have other couples that I love a lot more
Mm-hmm.
than them, but
The only other thing I will say about Meredith and Derek is when he died, it was one of those moments where I did like him. So I was like truly sad. It's like, why did you have to go out on such a high note to where I like am actually sad about this? Like 2 episodes before this, I kind of hated you. So like we could have just went out on that and then I wouldn't have been so sad. But you had to go and make it up with her and be wonderful again right before you died.
I know. That was, I took his death kind of how you took DeLuca's.
Yeah.
It was so hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
If I'd been watching live at the time, I think I would have too.
And I wasn't.
I do.
yeah, I was
wasn't watching
watching.
live.
Am I the only one who was watching live when
Maybe.
Derek,
I
probably.
remember like it was hard when it happened
I
because
can
well,
imagine.
first of all, they started playing Chasing Cars. And that's you know
never
what I
good.
lovingly refer to as, you know, the Grey's Anatomy death song.
Mhm.
Yep.
So whenever they start playing that song, you know something really
coming.
bad is gonna happen.
Just turn it off.
And I love that song, and Grey's Anatomy ruined it for me.
Oh,
Right.
I can't listen to it anymore without
No, it
getting
makes you
sad.
sad.
Oh God, I get choked up whenever I hear it, and I'm not a crier.
We start thinking about everybody we've lost, and it's terrible. Yeah.
What did they play during DeLuca's death?
I don't remember.
It wasn't the
It
wasn't
wasn't
the death
Chasing
song.
Cars.
I don't have any idea.
It wasn't Chasing Cars. I don't remember.
I mean, Amanda, I was talking at the time. I was in shock. Like,
No.
what the
We
hell
were
is
both in
happening?
I
shock.
remember you guys were talking. I was like, I need to mute this chat like right now before I learn.
No, we
anything.
were
rough.
talking privately too.
We were. Oh,
Like,
you can see our
Actually,
text.
while it was happening,
Yeah, we were like, oh no, no. Oh my God, what's happening? I mean, we're like texting. It was
and I couldn't go
awful.
to sleep for hours.
I couldn't either. I was
That
sad
was-
the next day. My husband made fun of me. He was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like, "You know what's wrong."
Well,
DeLuca
you
died,
know, I
okay?
saw the episode description, and from the description, I was like, I think something bad might happen. I don't know what it is, but something bad's gonna happen, and I
didn't
can't
know.
be thinking about that all day at work when I'm teaching kindergartners. So
True.
I'm gonna
I
have
would've
to
had to
hold
call in
off on
sick if
watching
I-
that so I can have the whole weekend to recover.
I mean, if I hadn't been working from home, I think I would have had to. I may have had to take a day because I'm not sure if I could have got through. Like David came and checked on me. He was like, "What is wrong?" And I'm like, "DeLuca's dead." And he was like, "Who?" I'm like, "DeLuca." He's like, "Oh." He's like, "I thought something was wrong."
Like,
in
no,
here."
not
It is
oh,
wrong.
don't-
It is wrong.
I feel like me and Ben had the same
But,
conversation.
I mean, and see, David really actually he was watching. He really liked DeLuca. So I mean, he was like, "Oh, that sucks."
Oh, that sucks. That sucks.
It's like,
That's
well,
it?
yeah, but that's not the words I would pick.
Well, yeah, a whole lot worse than that. This is devastating. He was like, "What is wrong with you? It's just a TV character."
Like, no.
No,
He was not on that show long enough, in my opinion.
no. I
We
thought
did
about
not get enough.
rewatching. I don't think I can rewatch the whole show because that's a lot. So I've thought about skipping around to like the things that I want to see and just doing it that way, like I do all my
Yeah.
other shows.
I'm on
So-
season 2 and I am determined to watch it straight through.
I
It's
know,
gonna
it
take
takes so long.
it's gonna take a few
No.
years.
Honestly, rewatching Grey's Anatomy to me was a whole lot better than watching it the first time. It really was.
I struggle with the first few
I
episodes.
never went back and watched the early seasons. Like there are
I
a
love the
handful
early
of
ones.
there are a handful of episodes I go back and I rewatch, like the shooting episode. I go back and I watch
Yeah,
that
see, I
one.
want to watch
That
What's
was a
wrong
big
with
one.
you?
And the plane crash. I want to watch the sad ones.
the
That's what
plane
I
crash.
like.
The plane crash I haven't gone back and watched for some reason, but I have gone back and watched the, whole freak out over the shoe. I get that she was in shock.
Yeah.
I get that. But I just still can't get over how hilarious it is. And I don't know if my sister listens to our podcast. My guess would be that she doesn't, but that is
She
also one of
needs
her
to.
favorite scenes. She needs to. Alyssa, if you're listening,
Yeah.
get
Maybe
better
just-
about listening to our
I'm just going to
podcast.
send her a message on Facebook and tell her she needs to be listening to these.
Yeah, I'll tell her that I'll stop talking to her. Maybe that'll work. If you don't listen to all of the podcasts for the shows that you watch, this whole sister
Right.
thing can't be no more.
We're done.
Which, by the way, is every single one of our shows.
Yeah, they're all great.
They really are.
Yeah, she doesn't have time for TV though.
Well, ladies,
I do.
have we covered everything? I
I
we
know you
covered-
do.
We have, I think, covered
I
everything.
think we talked extensively about all our favorites and
did.
non-favorites.
We did.
Yeah.
Well, if there's anybody that we missed, I think we've covered almost all the couples possible, but if there's anybody that we missed that you love and you want to let us know, please do. If you disagree with anything on our list, have any comments about that, let us know that too. We love to get feedback.
Send us
from you
your
guys.
list.
Yes, send us your list. Let us know who your top 10 couples are. You can contact us at familyfanclubs2021@gmail.com. We also have our Facebook group, Grey's Anatomy Grey Family Fan Club, and then Twitter, Instagram, which is at Family Fan Clubs, and TikTok, which is FB Family Fan Clubs. Did I say all those correctly? We've got a lot of different social medias. Yeah, but definitely give us your feedback, and then make sure to rate us, subscribe to us, so you will get new episodes. Next week we are talking about, I think Wednesday we're going to be back with Schitt's Creek. I think we're discussing the Schitt's Creek Townies, so that'll definitely be a fun discussion. And then on Sunday we'll be back again with Bridgerton episodes 5 and 6. So that'll be good too.
Yes.
Thanks everybody.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.